G'day friends, Brian here. Today, two more graded comics arrived for me. So now I have three 9.8 CGC comics in total. So a few days ago, this is my first one that I received, which is a C3PO from 2016. This was the very first graded comic I ever bought, and that was for a total of $66. So very happy to have this Star Wars one added to the collection. And today, my second and third one arrived. I got the Ultimate X-Men #1 from 2001. That's what the back looks like. And I won that at auction from the same seller that I bought the original comic from. And I was the only one that bid on it. And I got that for $99 plus $14.99 postage. So $113.99 for this one. And finally, if I was to do a top 10 of the comics that I would like to own most at a 9.8, this would surely be in my top 10. This is a Spawn #1, and that's got a grading of 9.8. I'm a big fan of the Spawn comics, and I actually had a run of comics from 1 to 100 back in 2005, and I regretfully sold them, which was stupid on my behalf, but I really needed the money at the time. So I'm very happy to have this one back in the collection. So I bid on that and I was successful, but the price was $355 plus $14.99 postage, which came to $369.99. eBay gave me a voucher for $5 off for late shipping on an order. So the total came to $364.99, which is a lot of money. It was the cheapest one listed at 9.8 on eBay, but I kind of still feel like I overpaid for it. But the thing is, what you got to take into account is that in Australia, if postage is very expensive coming from America or UK, so you really got to take that into account, and sometimes it's better to pay a few extra dollars and just get it shipped locally. So yeah, if I had a top 10 of my all-time favorite comics that I'd like to have in a 9.8, this would be one of them. So very grateful to have that one. But I've been reading a lot about it, and people say that there was a big print run at the time when it was first done, so there'd be a lot of CG or a lot of mint copies out there. But very happy to own it. And also, I was looking up other comics, and it's amazing in some cases what difference that 9.8 makes. There's one comic that I really loved as a kid, and you can get a copy at 9.6 for about $100 on eBay. But for the 9.8 variant or grade, you're paying $450. So it really jumps up in price a lot, just that extra little 0.2. So why do it? Why pay the extra? I mean, if it's for an investment, the way I look at it is, I always think back to my auntie. In the late 70s or early 80s, my auntie moved up to an area on the Central Coast called Baddo Bay. And I remember she bought this property, and it was about a 10-minute drive to the beach. and she got the property really cheap. But if they'd paid an extra, I think it was $800 back then, which was a lot of money back then, they could have had a place on the beach, like waterfront property. But they didn't want to pay that extra, and that's fair enough. But all these years later, that waterfront property is worth millions of dollars. Her place went up in value a lot, but the waterfront property went up higher. So if you look at the 9.8s, they are like the waterfront property. 9.8s, 9.9s, 10s. You pay the big dollars to because you've got that high grade. Is it worth it? I don't know. I mean, the higher the grade, the less copies are of existence in most cases. So it becomes a lot rarer. I guess, I mean, if you're happy with a 9.6 or an 8.5 or a 7, good on you. I mean, I believe everyone to their own, especially when it comes to this. I mean, would you be happy just with a comic in a case up on the wall? Does it need to be graded? I'm finding the whole graded comic thing very exciting and very addictive, and I'm already up to $544.98 with just the purchase of these 3 comics. It's incredibly addictive, and I can see how people would want to buy more and more. I felt like a kid in the candy store looking at all the 9.8 graded comics available out there. And if I was to win the lotto or have a big win, I wouldn't be, this would be one of the first things I'd be looking at, buying some comics that are 9.8 that are going for $20,000. But that's not in my price budget yet. Anyway, very happy to have these 3 here. And I'm going to very slowly and very selectively add to these. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.